Dude, did you steal my cookie?
Dude, I didn't steal your cookie. I had this all along.
I
Me
see
ever
your
again?
face with chocolate and man.
No, listen here. This is my cookies. I don't want to ever you say that to me. Say that.
The son of a saw you stealing my cookies.
No, you're a son of a. You stole my cookies.
You know what? You smell like a Danish.
At least I don't drink liquid cheese.
Oh, I drink every day liquid cheese. You.
You're this.
You face.
What do you mean face? You're the one looking like a cookie monster.
Cookie monster, you.
Well, I'm not a mother. I don't do that. That's you, Jack.
Love is in the air. Next week on World of Warcraft.
Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th episode of the Auction House podcast. Zen, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, it's a new month. It's a new day. It's a new life. Wait, that's a song.
That's a song. That's a song, man. That's something different.
I know. But I mean, it still works. Still works.
Yeah. Hey, you're excited for this episode?
I'm excited for this episode, honestly.
Yeah, me too, man. This episode, we're going to talk about the Auction House add-on TradeSkillMaster. And we got a little bit of a special touch on it because we have the support manager of TradeSkillMaster, Gumdrops, later on in the show. So we're going to talk about some of the current stuff in TSM, but also about maybe some 4.11 things. Who knows?
It's going to be exciting stuff. It's going to be exciting stuff for sure.
We always start with the token price. And finally,
something happened.
Something happens. It's fantastic.
I mean, it's good because we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, for multiple of the podcasts. We've said that, you know, the closer that we get to BlizzCon, we could probably see some increases in the tokens, and that is what we saw because here introduced a couple, like what is it, a week ago now?
4 days ago.
4 days ago. The BlizzCon Celebration Collection bundle was posted on sale in the shop.
Yep.
And in there, or especially for WoW, you can get like a Moontouch Netherwhelp pets, another mount. It's like a bear with icicles on it. It's pretty cool. And then that's like the major deals of that celebration package for WoW.
Now that I see it, by the way, it's a bear with blizzards.
Yeah.
On him.
Yeah.
Hey. They have 3 types of packs you can buy. You have the normal one, the heroic one, and the epic one. They go from $20 to $60. I think it's the same in euros. Huh?
Yes. Something
happened when they announced this, and that's what happened is the price went up. And on the EU price, the price went up from let me check, from 163K to a maximum of 186K.
Yeah. So on the American one as well, on the US, we also had an increase. It was pretty intense actually, because it went all the way from, you know, being down to close to 110 to all the way up to 130,000. Which huge. Is that? I mean, that's a huge increase for the NA WoW token and the US token for sure.
But both markets are now stabilizing again. We see that the US is stabilizing faster than the EU one.
Yeah. But something that is good to showcase is it's stabilizing at a little bit of a higher price.
Yeah.
It is a little bit higher than it used to be before.
Yes.
So it seems to be that it's going to be expensive or a little more pricey than it usually is. And obviously, depending on what we see going towards BlizzCon, who knows what happens.
Yeah, that's two more weeks. We have the BlizzCon. It's all a big giant question on what's going to happen. If there's like a announcement of a pre-sale, or it could be on the same day. That happened before.
Yes,
the price will go up again. How much? It's all a big question for us.
Impossible to say.
Impossible to say.
But If you are considering right now, if you're holding out, if you only need like one token, probably don't wait too long with buying your token. It might be a good idea if you need game time in the middle of BlizzCon. It might be a good idea to get it before BlizzCon.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Something else is happening at the moment in the market, and that is the Legion herbs are going up at the moment in price. And the reason why it's happening at the moment is that normally you can go to the ink trader and use the Umbral inks to trade in for other older content inks and pigments. But the Umbral ink is at the moment at such a high price on most servers, it's not interesting at the moment to use the ink trader for that. So what's happening now? People are start buying for the rosette pigments and the sallow pigments. They start buying the Legion herbs and what happens is that the Legion prices are going up in value. So if you're on a server and you don't see a lot of movement at the moment for the Legion herbs, I would recommend to check them out, maybe buy a couple of them, invest in them, and repost them straight away. Because it's an interesting market for the glyph market, and you cannot get it cheaper at the moment, I think.
No, and obviously from what one part is the ink trader, but it's also the landscape is very different when it comes to people farming these things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that actually go into this, right? And it's also an expansion we're getting further and further away from.
Yes.
Because this is 2 expansions ago now.
and we already seeing this happening with the Laystone at the moment. It's a different story, but we see an increase in price of the Laystone for the Outhammers, gun shoes.
It's also very important to realize that some of these things that are like these herbs and also the Laystone are some of the things that they are used for are going to be used for the whole expansion, right?
Yes.
There's potentially going to be very high periods of demand for it as well, continuing with patches. So it's a good idea now to at least consider it.
Yeah, and check out if you can flip them or maybe mill them yourself.
Yeah,
it depends on the price on your market. So check that out. You can check also a whole blog about it on my website, www.golddipper.com. I have a little page with even a TSM import string on it, so you can import straight away all the items for it and get to a business straight away.
Yeah. So something that's also currently going on is the Luna Festival, and if you guys haven't been introduced or haven't done any of that content for the Luna Festival before, it's about a coin of ancestry, right? That is the currency that is used for all these holiday specific items that you can get. There's obviously some things that are just for your account, but we're going to focus on specifically the main things that you have some potential on making gold on. And in this case, it's the pattern schematics and the pets. So for pets, there's a lunar lantern and there's the festival lantern. Those are the 2 pets, and then schematics and patterns, there's festival dress, festival suit, Alliance firework, schematic horde firework, and schematic snake firework. These are all very important to take notice of, and not necessarily to take it now. You farm all these things and sell it now. It's probably going to be at its lowest price during the events, but these are things that you can long-term invest into. So later on in the year when the event is not active, there's still going to be people that want these things. So that's where you're potentially going to be able to make some gold, right?
Yeah. And like for the festival lantern and the lunar lantern, you don't need to buy them from the vendor. You can also check them out on the auction house and see if anybody's posting them cheap. Give it a couple of days, because the more they get posted, the cheaper they will get.
Exactly.
And this whole lunar event will be on till the 19th of February. If you're going to farm for them, you do need 50 coins. And I'm going to tell you, so far, it's not easy to get them.
No.
But if you have the time and you like them to get them, then get them.
I mean, if you enjoy doing the coins, absolutely you can do that. Yeah. If you're going for any of the things that are account bound or bind on pickup or whatever, it's a good idea. But also just stocking the auction house for some potentially really good deals right now is the time for it for sure.
Yeah. So far, the festival lantern is going around for 20k region price on the EU. So that can be a nice one. If you can get them below like 15k or even lower than that.
Yeah, as low as possible.
Yeah, and don't try to sell them straight away. Keep them in your bank or bag, or use them or whatsoever. Maybe level them, but try to sell them after 2-3 months.
Yeah, after a while, when people forgot about it, and they're like, "Oh, I want that," but I have to wait until next year until it's here again.
Yep.
So that's
Something else. Love is in the Air is coming soon. When will it start?
Love is in the air.
La 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 la. So this Monday, Love is in the Air is gonna start. It's the Valentine event, and there are a couple of nice things we can get. I think the main thing we should look at is the Lovebird mount, and I could say look as well for the pet, but the pet is already very easy to get. Like the peddler's feet is also pretty easy to get.
A lot of the things are very easy to get when it comes to Love is in the Air.
Yeah, it's an event that it has its periods, and what I mean with that is the Lovebird. That's the thing you want to focus on.
Yeah,
and also with what you just said, just like with the Lunar, invest in them, buy them cheap, or maybe if you want to farm them, whatsoever. But don't sell them in the same period.
No.
Try to wait at least like 6 months, depending on your server.
Just wait for the price to go up. You can also check like old pricing data on something like the Undermine Journal. You can see how it's been moving in the past.
Yeah.
Obviously, the landscape changes all the time with how popular the game is and how many people are playing. But no matter what, it's going to go up in price once the actual event goes away, but it's going to take a little bit because stock needs to run out. People need to get rid of the things that they want to sell quickly, and that's always something you have to consider. So if you want to farm them yourself, that's obviously an opportunity. You can definitely go out there and farm the Swift Lovebirds yourself, but looking for potentially good deals in the auction house is always a good option. Yeah, something that's also important as a gold making perspective is that last week, 7 days ago, 6-7 days ago, the Torghast layers unlocks now are account wide, which means that something that we've been able to see is that people are going into providing base legendary items for their alts, right? Because you can quickly get through the content that is in Torghast. You don't have to go through the whole grind again on another character, which means more people are okay with that part. So everything that goes into the base legendaries, like all the crafting materials, the missives, the materials needed for the base legendaries, are all things that are seeing an increase. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously one of the things, I don't know if you want to talk about that, Jack, with the missives.
Yeah, so what I've noticed on a couple of my servers I'm playing on, and also checked on the Undermine Journal website, the region value went a bit up, but also the quantities went up. And what happened was people were like getting their alts ready for legendaries, and what happened was the demand just risen up, and people were buying more. Price went up. You saw soft resets in the missives. It was a pretty interesting moment. On some realms, the price is still up. Check it before you're gonna craft it or flip it, if you can get any profit out of it. But I would definitely check it out, that market at the moment, if you're not focused on it.
It's definitely important to follow some of these markets when changes like that are made, because it changes the overall picture of how the markets work. But these are obviously these are very competition heavy markets, and obviously depending on your server, it might not have moved too much. It might not have made too much of a difference because of how large the overall supply for all these things are. But it's definitely something to take note of when hotfixes like this happen, to check out the markets that it impacts, because there's always probably some potential gold that you can make.
Yeah, and actually you don't have to check out just only the missives. You can also check out the materials that are used to make the missives, like the ink.
Oh yeah, everything revolving around it.
Yeah, everything. And with the inks, there comes the herbs again.
Yeah.
I did see also a huge increase in herbs at the moment, and I'm checking out the marrowwood again. Yeah, so the material price at the moment has risen a bit on a lot of servers. That's why you see the region price going up. Check that out. See what's happening on that market, and maybe you want to buy some. Maybe you want to wait and check out maybe people that are undercutting in prices.
Yeah,
to buy them.
The thing about markets like this, when it comes to high velocity markets, is what we call them for current content, is something we obviously also talked about last week in last week's episode of the podcast. Is when it comes to items like this, we also have the issues of bots farming them, and we kind of get to a stabilized point where we have a price point of what a potential value is, but the supply is always peaking and punching to it, right? So the more supply there is, you would imagine that the price is going to go down.
Yes.
But it's an ever changing thing, especially in these high velocity markets, because people buy huge stacks of these items and then use huge stacks and they post huge stacks. So the price moving on these, it still happens, but it's gone to a more stabilized point. So it's easier to follow the data of the prices on these things. It's not as crazy anymore.
Anything else you want to talk about?
For me specifically, I have obviously been transfer farming a whole lot, but that's on the side. Something that I have been focusing a lot on right now is actually shuffling. And shuffling is majority of the time vendor shuffling. I buy materials off the auction house, I turn it into something else, like I craft it into something else with professions, and then I sell it to a vendor.
Can you say what kind of materials you buy?
So currently, for me, the materials that I buy is desolate leather, it's pellet bones, and then tied for linen.
Okay.
And those materials are used for obviously different items that you vendor, but it's the amount of those materials that are currently being posted on the auction house. It's always going super insane, and with demand on certain items in current content, especially for desolate leather and pellet bone slowing down, the supply is still going to come because people are focusing hard on the higher qualities of leather.
Mm-hmm.
So most people don't care about it, so they just post it on the auction house, get it over with. So
yeah, they just want to get rid of it as soon as possible.
They just want to get rid of it. So you can capitalize on this, and you can see sometimes you can grab very big stacks of super cheap mats that you can turn into something in your profession through shuffling. And there's a lot of gold to be made in shuffling. Absolutely. The gold per hour is, I wouldn't say it's the absolute most highest thing ever. And I want to say, if you have a lot of AFK time, or if you have a second account that you can actively run all the time, it's definitely worth it to do. But if that isn't the case, I wouldn't recommend it. I will say though, it's a very, very safe way of making gold. It's guaranteed gold. You know exactly how much you're going to make. The moment that you buy it, you do the math, and you know how much gold per hour you're going to make because of how fast you can craft it. So it's a very safe way of making gold. So if that's your style, that's something you can totally do. And there's a lot of spreadsheets. There's a lot of video guides out there from people that have made shuffling videos and shuffling spreadsheets.
Yeah, there's enough information about it. Do keep in mind that it is limited. So
yes,
how much time you spend, how cheap you can get it, maybe how many accounts you're going to use.
Yeah,
it has its limit.
If you do it on your main account, obviously the amount you do, it doesn't matter too much. But if you're thinking about, I want to open a second account for shuffling, the amounts of materials that you need to make that a thing is very insane. Because you currently, if we take just as an example, if we talk about desolate leather and pellet bones, usually the average amount of gold per hour that you're going to get from a vendor shuffle like that is around 10K an hour, which means that if you want enough for a token, you'd have to do 16, 17 hours of shuffling. Right?
That's a lot.
So the amount of materials that you need to go through, it's a lot, because you can do currently, because there's no faster way of crafting, there's no enchant or anything, so you can do 1,800 crafts in an hour. That's the maximum amount. That's not counting handling, moving materials around, sending it back and forth. But if we just take it from that standpoint, you are using, at least 10, 11, 12,000 materials of desolate leather. And if you're doing one of the two items in leatherworking for desolate leather and pallet bones, then you're using 2 materials, which means you need double. But if you're just doing one, where you only use desolate leather, you run into the case of needing 170 to 190,000 desolate leather. That's a lot of materials. It's definitely feasible, but just make sure before, if you're considering opening a second account, just make sure that the supply on your server is large enough, or you have enough time to sit there and stock the auction house to be able to buy enough materials to make it worth it.
By the way, talking about accounts, when you're now listening on Spotify, hit that follow button.
Yeah, absolutely. If you, take a break right now. You guys maybe didn't think about it. Even if you're listening on YouTube right now, right? You can scroll
hit
down.
That like button.
Hey, you can hit that like button. You can type in a little comment, say, hey, Jack and San, you sound absolutely amazing. I love you guys.
Yeah. Next week, we have Hikons on the show. Hikons is known for a huge gold maker in the gold making community.
Yes.
He plays on the US, has over 440 million gold liquid.
It's absolutely insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Just calculate how many tokens you can buy from it, or calculate how much money it is. If you translate it into tokens, it's ridiculous. And this guy flips on multiple servers, like 40 plus at least, that I know.
Oh, yeah.
Next week, we're going to talk about, of course, flipping on multiple servers. And of course, what's going to happen on BlizzCon, because that will be in 2 weeks.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you have any questions, comment on the video. Go to Twitter and comment there. And what's the Twitter address?
The AH_podcast.
Yes, indeed. You can put in there your message, or you can go to my website, www.golddipper.com, and you can fill in the form of the latest episode with your question, or maybe if you have a suggestion.
Whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be great.
We're going to go to the main topic now. And of course, that's this TradeSkillMaster add-on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a can of worms if I've ever seen one.
Indeed. Wait, worms?
I don't know about worms.
No.
Why can't it be worms?
I don't like worms.
Why don't you like worms? Jack, what if it's gummy worms?
Gumdrops worms.
Honestly, that was I didn't even think about it. Gummy worms.
Gumdrops worms. That's the thing.
It almost
that's the
works.
Thing.
It's actually pretty close.
But do you know what I do like?
What do you like?
I like to be coached in TSM and gold making. And you can do that by signing up on the www.golddipper.com website. Click on the menu on guides and you will see the topic coaching for TradeSkillMaster and gold making. Sign up and I will contact you and you get training. By the way, how are your videos doing?
Actually, they're doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how my YouTube is going right now. I want to do more always, but time is of the essence. It's always, you gotta make time for absolutely everything. But I am enjoying it. It's the latest episode of the 1 copper to 1 million gold series that got posted here a couple days ago.
And we put in the links as well in the description of the YouTube video. So open up the description and you can see all the links for what we talk about. Yeah, it's very exciting. Okay, so what's your history with TradeSkillMaster add-on?
So for me, I use it. I will say currently I'm using it. What do you say? It's not, I'm using the basic things of TSM, right? I'm very. I don't use it to its full. I don't use it to its full extent.
You mean like the tooltips?
I use the tooltips. I use buying and selling data. I use the ledger to look at historical data from what I've been buying and selling. I use posting operations to very small amounts and but the tooltips are an absolutely huge help. But I don't use it to its full extent. I don't. But when it comes to the history of me with TSM, it was always something on the horizon that I knew I should get into at some point. It took me a very. I mean, I made my first 5 million gold without TSM, right? So it's not like saying you need TSM to be able to make gold, but it's a very, 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 very big help most of the time.
I started really making gold when I started using TradeSkillMaster addon like it intended to be used. The reason for that is that I never recorded what I was buying, what I was selling, and that made a huge impact for me when I started gold making. I started in vanilla, and we didn't have something like that, but I did some flipping, and it was like not big numbers. But my first experience with TradeSkillMaster addon was during Legion, early Legion, and I bumped to some guy called Gumdrops, and I already knew about TradeSkillMaster addon, but I wasn't like really interested in it because it was so complex. But Gumdrops really showed me how to use it to the max, to the most efficient point you can use it, and that really changed. And just to give people an idea, TradeSkillMaster, you cannot learn it in a day. Well, it took me 3 months to understand it for 50%.
I mean, absolutely. The hardest part of TSM is the strings, right? The TSM string, crafting strings on your own is very, very tough, right? Understanding where you need to put things, like where you need to create things, and looking at the data and using it to your advantage. That's very basic level entry stuff that you can do for TSM. But when you get into the thick of it, I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
It's like riding a bike. The first time you're on a bike, most people were with their mother or father on a bike, and you as a kid didn't notice you were on a bike. Well, you know you were on a bike, but you weren't like focused on, oh, rah, I'm on a bike. Remember the first time you learned to ride a bike, you were very focused on learning how to ride a bike. And you fell down and you were crying, and your mommy and your daddy and whatsoever. And at some point then, you come to a point that you're riding a bike, but actually not even noticing you're riding a bike. Like you're not focusing. All right, you're just going. And I think that's the same concept with TradeSkillMaster. Like I'm making strings now, not as complex as Billis or Nexia, of course, but I'm making strings that work for me. I understand what string, what source, what combination, what function I need to use to make it work for my TradeSkillMaster profile.
Yeah, Billis is probably, he's that guy on a bike that rides without his hands. He doesn't have his hand on the handlebars.
Is a guy that rides on a bike, and that rides on top of another bike.
Without the handlebars, with a blindfold on.
In his hand, the bell. So he needs the steering wheel at least.
Yeah. What I think is very important for a lot of people to think about when they get into TSM is they don't have to do it the same way that other people are, right? Just do what you're happy with, do what you feel comfortable with getting into, and just take it at your own speed. Like you don't need to learn it in 2 days, right? It can take a long time. It can take and if you do learn it quick, I mean, more power to you. It's just it's about taking it at your own pace, right? And you can absolutely do well.
And there's so much information on the internet, on YouTube, on how to use it, like from hazelnut till Samadan.
I will say, I mean, if you're really wanting to get into TSM, basic entry level stuff, and also getting into more complicated stuff, Samadan does a very, very good job of articulating it very well.
Yeah. And also he had to learn it at some point. And he, trust me, even Samadan is still learning in TradeSkillMaster.
No, you never get done learning.
You never get done learning. And like Gumdrops always says, a TradeSkillMaster profile is never finished.
Yeah, because things are ever changing.
Yeah, it keeps changing and you need to adjust to it. Sometimes you need to adjust it more than the other time. It depends on what kind of server you are, what kind of gold maker you are, your time you can spend,
Yeah.
what kind of market you're in. That all depends on how your profile is going to be and how it's going to keep changing.
Which is also why a majority of the time, if you're somebody that has asked somebody, oh, can I get your TSM strings? Can I get the operations or whatever? They're probably going to tell you, I recommend that you learn it on your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one of the issues, or one of the issues that you run into, if you take somebody else's TSM strings and you don't understand what's going on in the string, if you have no idea what would you just put into your TSM, along the lines of making gold, you might make a mistake. You might post something for way too low and you might lose some gold. We obviously don't want that happening. Well, none of us do. So that's why a lot of the time that's the case.
Indeed. On the TradeSkillMaster.com website, you can find any kind of info about the price sources, tooltips, settings, updates. I'm even working on a guide for TradeSkillMaster. It's still not finished, but it's a lot of work, and I want to do so many things on my website. So, are you gonna do any series about TradeSkillMaster on your YouTube channel?
I have been talking about making a TSM small video series for such a long time, and I really, really, really want to get into it, but it's so hard deciding for me what to focus on first.
Mhm.
And it's a very complex thing, and I want to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
It's that perfectionist way of thinking. I want it to be perfect, but I know I can't make it perfect, and then I keep putting it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I will at some point for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
do
really
it.
want to.
It's fun, and I think what I notice mostly from my coaching sessions is the result.
Yeah.
I see what people are doing. I explain to them what they could change, why they should change it, and then you see them working and thinking about it, and then that the coming days, then you get like a message from, oh, dude, really perfect what you said to me, or that this crafting, the cell crafting system is like for somebody I'm teaching at the moment, is very new for him, and like a whole new world opened up for him, and that's so cool to experience that.
It's also like it's trying to get into the mindset of learning TSM yourself.
Riding a bike.
Right.
It's literally we're learning riding the bike.
Yeah.
So, guys, we finally are at the last subject, the main subject actually of the podcast.
Very exciting stuff.
Very excited. And we're going to talk about TradeSkillMaster. But before we're going to do that, we have, of course, our guest. It's a little bit a special guest, actually. It was unannounced, last minute thing. We have the one and only support manager of TradeSkillMaster. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Gumdrops. Woo!
Hey guys, thanks for the warm welcome.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to give you a warm welcome because we haven't heard your voice for a long time. So yeah,
That's very true.
It's been so long.
it's been so long. Let's start. The first question is, what is, and I think you can answer it perfectly. What is the add-on TradeSkillMaster?
Oh, I don't know about that. I've been trying to figure out how to use it for a long time. I'm just kidding. TradeSkillMaster is a World of Warcraft auction house add-on suite, and hopefully the listeners of this podcast are familiar with that at least. But it helps you kind of execute your gold making strategies, whether that's buying and selling items, or crafting items, or destroying items with vendor shuffles and things like that. It kind of takes your gold making to the next level in World of Warcraft.
Is it an add-on you would say, like to start with? Like, is it the add-on to start with, or would you recommend to start first with a bit more gold making, or a more simpler add-on before you start with TradeSkillMaster?
I wouldn't necessarily start with a more simple add-on. It's more about having a strategy in mind of what you want to do to make gold. TradeSkillMaster doesn't really print money for you. You have to kind of have an idea of how you want to approach gold making. So whether it's something like you have a profession like enchanting, you can say, okay, on the raid nights, I'll log in and I'll craft 10 enchants, but you might be doing that manually. And TradeSkillMaster kind of helps you identify which enchants to make and how much it costs you to make them, and make sure that you sell them at a profit.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. It's like, I always say it's like an extension on your former gold making.
Yeah, something like that.
So you could kind of say that it's actually the money printing machine. You just need to learn how to use it.
Yeah, I'd say that. You kind of have to configure it to print the money.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, there's no golden button, like auto gold button?
That comes with TSM Platinum Edition.
Or breaking the TOS.
Of course.
Yeah, we don't do that though.
No.
Don't say that, Sen. God.
What? I mean, listen.
Next week, like TradeSkillMaster is closed, nobody can download it anymore because Sen will set something stupid.
Okay.
Hey, and it's been downloaded. Like, if I check in the Curse website at the moment, it has been downloaded for almost 30 million times. But I don't think that's the exact amount, because you can also download it on the TradeSkillMaster.com website, right?
Yeah, that's very true. And we actually recommend, once you do have the TSM add-ons, is to use the TradeSkillMaster application itself to manage the add-on updates. So for those who are actively using TradeSkillMaster, the downloads may not count towards the Curse download count. And additionally, we obviously used to have all of the old separate modules for TradeSkillMaster 3.
Oh, yeah.
And those download counts are still up there somewhere. So maybe we do actually have more than 30 million, maybe 40 million at this point over the years. But it's very good to see that it's still up there as a popular add-on.
Do you have any info about that? How many it's been downloaded from the TradeSkillMaster.com website?
I don't actually have any numbers on that side. If I did, I probably wouldn't be able to share them anyway. But no, I don't have specifics on that.
Is this so? Is Shadowlands the most popular expansion for TradeSkillMaster? Has it ever been this popular, or is it like is it at its peak?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's kind of reflected with the player base in WoW as well. It's a very busy time. I'm not sure if any of you guys checked out the Blizzard earnings call or the Activision Blizzard earnings calls recently and said that they've had year-on-year growth for the last 6 quarters or sections or whatever they referenced in terms of WoW players. So it's busier than ever in-game, and it's busier than ever with TradeSkillMaster with regards to people using the desktop application and using that add-on to manage and post their auctions and that kind of thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's great. Absolutely.
Yeah. It started in the date it says here started in 2010, but I know I think it was from you, Gumdrops. The story was Sapu started with an Excel sheet or something like that, and then made it out to an add-on. What's the story behind it?
Yeah, so from what I remember, Sapu started it as an add-on to manage his enchanting. He didn't have anything available at the time to do that kind of thing. So there was an add-on he made and another separate add-on that did something similar. He kind of merged them together when the other one was abandoned. The add-on developer stopped updating it and he thought it was a useful thing, so he kind of picked it up and it evolved from there basically to what it is today.
Can we say it's now a full company?
Yeah, it definitely is. There's people on the team that are working. I don't think anybody's full time, but there's definitely people on the team that are dedicating lots of time to TradeSkillMaster, and it's been growing for the duties and tasks and skills that we might need at any time. Like we've brought on data analysts, and we've brought on designers and web developers and back-end developers and even myself as part of the team to manage the community and do all of the support. So there's a lot that goes into running and the upkeep of TradeSkillMaster itself.
It's actually really interesting because I've always been it's been an interesting little journey looking at how TradeSkillMaster has been growing, but it's mostly from the outside. It's almost impossible to see what like goes on, and to think about the fact that an add-on has like a small company is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it allows the team to kind of do things that wouldn't necessarily be possible for other add-on developers. We are definitely very fortunate and lucky to be able to support the number of people that we do. to contribute to the long-term goals of the add-on and the even the website and the whole group. But yeah, if there's something that we need to do, like have some kind of tool or server infrastructure and bandwidth and that kind of thing, we can kind of reinvest in the team and in the add-on itself.
Well, talking about the team, who are at the moment the guys in the team, and the girls maybe?
So we've got Sapyu, who is the founder and lead developer. Then we have Muffin, who is probably the second oldest team member in terms of how long they've been working on the project. He manages all of the back-end infrastructure, and he built all of the code that generates all of your market values and region market values and stuff. We recently brought on a guy called Magurikan, who developed the TradeSkillMaster ledger. He started making gold and didn't have any means to analyze all of his accounting data, so he built a tool for himself, and we thought it was really cool. So we brought it in-house, and he's now part of the TSM team. We also have Recyc, who is one of the other senior developers on the project. He also manages and builds Recount, and I think another big add-on, which I forget the name of, which I think you'll be upset about. We also have Sig. He is the front-end web developer. And more recently, we brought on two new guys who built the Nexus Hub for Classic WoW. And they're going to be working on revamping our new TradeSkillMaster website, which I don't think we've talked about anywhere before.
Ooh.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Absolutely.
Exclusive information. Ooh.
Tell us something about it. What's going to happen? What are the plans?
I mean, there's so many things that we've wanted to do for a long time.
Like?
Well, on a simple level, just make the site a little bit more functional and have more reasons to visit the site. So you could look up more information about what you've been doing in game. Not kind of like ledger level analytics, but more like managing your groups, maybe doing things on the website that you can then follow up with in game, or vice versa. If you do things in the game, you can manage it on the website. Also more like price tracking things. If you're looking at an item page on the website, the information is pretty rudimentary. So you could have kind of heat maps of when things are posted and price charts and things like that. I think a lot of improvement could be done there.
Yeah, price charts, man. If you talk about that, I get like goosebumps. And yeah, and those are things I would like to see. The thing, and that's actually a request from me. I see lately more and more people talking on the Reddit, on other sites, social media, talking about flipping on multiple servers.
Yes.
What I would love to see in TradeSkillMaster is like now in the ledger, the web ledger, I use it a lot, but I would love to see like I can compare my servers. Like that server they making that much gold, that server making that much gold, and he's selling more than that one. And is there maybe a possibility we can see that in the future? Like it's a new way of gold making, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything is possible given time and resources, but that's kind of a cop-out answer. It's certainly something that we want to work towards. It just depends on priorities of other things and whether other features and other aspects of both the ledger and the main TSM website could bring possibly more value to more people. But yeah, there's tons and tons of things on the list, and the kind of sky is the limit in terms of what we could do. I don't think we'll ever run out of ideas or features that could be cool to do with TradeSkillMaster.
Yeah, and for the listeners, we're gonna put in the description the links to the ledger and of course TradeSkillMaster, so you can read all about it, and of course the Twitter of Gumdrops, so you can follow him, annoy him, and whatever. There's one thing more I want to ask you. What's up with tsm.guide?
Wow, I purchased a domain. I forget why I was searching for domains, but I saw that there was a .guide domain that you could purchase. So I was searching for that, and I saw that tsm.guide was available. And I think more generally, I was kind of annoyed with a couple of posts on the WoW Economy subreddit that claimed to be providing some insight or guides on how to set up TradeSkillMaster, but they weren't very good, or kind of recommending bad habits or things like that. So I thought, why not kind of flesh out a more professional looking, not so much a guide, but more of a course, almost like Skillshare or something, where you've got a series of videos where you can work your way through them. But they're more legit and they're kind of set up in a way that anybody can access them. To
maybe collaborations with content creators, maybe.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. But what I wanted to kind of start thinking about is a kind of masterclass sort of thing, not just a kind of a 5-minute YouTube thing, but something more substantial and more evergreen, so it would always be relevant. It's not something that's tied to a specific expansion or a specific like configurations inside the add-on, but more general. This is what TradeSkillMaster is. This is what you can get out of it, and this is how you would think about setting it up. Not like specific configurations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so teaching people how to use the tools to be able to fix the machine.
Yeah, teaching people to fish, basically.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I mean, that's honestly that sounds very exciting. I'd be very interested to have that have like more official TSM guide that everybody can follow.
Yeah, exactly.
As like a baseline thing. That's good. That's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
That's more exclusive stuff as well.
Yeah, getting into all those. That's good.
I saw a message that TradeSkillMaster has never had so much traffic ever before. Like the data. Is that still going on? Is it still growing, that amount?
Yeah, as I was saying before, it's kind of, we're still in a situation after the Shadowlands launch that we have record numbers of users for the TradeSkillMaster application. And the main reason why it might be slow to log in or to get connected and things is just our back-end infrastructure wasn't ever really designed to scale up in the way that it needs to meet the demand of everybody using the application. So what we need to do basically is to rebuild the back-end architecture, which is not a simple thing. And that was one of the reasons why we made the API unavailable on a short-term basis. The short-term is turning more into longer-term basis, just because there's so much traffic coming onto the TSM servers. But we will likely need to, as part of the rebuild, is to launch a new API, which will be better suited for more traffic, basically. So that's to come. That's just being worked on in conjunction with TSM 4.11, the new add-on version. So expect some more news very soon.
So before we're going to start to 4.11, if you're a listener and you're a user of TradeSkillMaster and you haven't paid your token for a long time, go to the website, get a subscription for half a year or a full year. It's way less than you should pay for a token. And not only that, you're helping these guys out. These guys use their time, their resources, even you have to pay for a website. You have to pay for data. They have to pay. Help them out. Subscribe. It's cheaper than your token in a year. And we'll put the link as well in the description of the YouTube website.
So 4.11, there's a lot of people excited about the 3 different things that were posted on that specific tweet that I remember seeing. And people's interests are very different. And when it comes to me specifically, I saw custom themes and I was like, okay, how extensive, how complex is that sentence? I'm interested in, so when custom themes, is it going to be you can move way more things around on your own, or is it just, more colors, or you can put pictures into your TSM, or what do you have any information on that?
And we have disco lights.
Yeah, it's definitely more about the different colors of the TSM windows and UIs. So there's I think there's half a dozen, maybe a couple more sections, not sections, but different options that you can apply a specific color to. and that can be exported and imported, so you can share the color selections that you've picked with a friend, or put them up on a blog or wherever you might like. But it's just more control of the coloring of all of the TSM windows.
That's pretty good. It's also just something I really enjoy is a lot of customization options, right?
Right.
So it's obviously that is a good thing, but I would be very excited to see to see more options into being able to make TSM your own thing, right? Do you understand like what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
That would be really cool. I don't know if you have any plans for that, but
we did take some steps towards that regarding resizing the tables, like at the auction house and in the crafting window. And I think one of the things planned for a not too distant update would be being able to reorder the columns in the tables.
Oh yeah.
So if you have more interest in a specific piece of information, you can move that to the left of the table, or you can move it off to the right hand side if you're not as interested in it. But definitely more customization where it's feasible and possible to do so is something we always try and work towards.
That's good. That's what I'm really interested in.
I missed something in the tweet you tweeted out with the upcoming futures of 4.11, because not long before that you were talking about a short value price for 3 days market value. Are we gonna see that in 4.11?
Probably not in 4.11, mostly because that's a lot more back-end work than it is add-on work. So our priority for that aspect is to get the new architecture kind of deployed and make it so that people can connect to the TSM desktop application whenever they want to, rather than whenever it's possible. But yeah, it's something we'd like to do in terms of new pricing. Because I think a lot of people have given some good feedback on that.
So that's like a new API kind of thing. Maybe.
Yeah, so we'd need to kind of set up everything to calculate that number, and then make it available through the desktop app and in-game. But it would basically be market value as it is today, which is over 14 days and weighted a little bit for the most recent 3 days of data, but then condensed down to 3 days. So that 3 days wait would then be like, 12 hours or something. So it's kind of a really short-term snapshot of market value instead of a 14-day average.
Yeah, I would love to see that, because I'm already having ideas on how to put it in crafting, because because there's so many more gold makers now. The prices are way more dynamic than before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think with a price source like that, it's very important. There was a couple of problems with bonus IDs, if I'm correct, with the armor and the other parts from Shadowlands.
Yes.
Is that problem solved?
It's solved in that we've got a workaround. There's still no documentation available from Blizzard with how the bonus ID system works for their items in game. So an item might have its own ID, but then there's maybe 12 to 15 bonus IDs associated with the item that determine whether it has a different eye level, whether it's epic, whether it's got any flavor text on it, what the stats are, whether it has a socket, all that kind of thing. So we had to literally spend dozens of hours kind of reverse engineering what these bonus IDs did on these items, and understand if we could ignore them, whether they actually had more than one value. So Sapu said he found one instance where if you've removed the bonus ID from one item, it would give like an epic raid status to another item and give it some random stats. So we had to understand what these bonus IDs did, and then determine whether we could ignore them or whether we could map them to something else when it comes to like the legendary base items and the different ranks. So that's we have a workaround for that in 4.11, whereby TSM can recognize between the different variations of those items.
Yeah, no wonder it took you guys so long to figure this out, of course, then. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what making it incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks to Blizzard for sure.
Do you think they did it on purpose?
I mean, they implemented something that worked for them. I don't think they had any reason or mandate to implement something that would be usable by the community add-on developers. So I don't really hold anything against them, but it would be nice for them to say, hey, we know that you're trying to use this system or to get your add-on to accommodate it. Here's some information that you might find helpful, but we haven't heard anything from them.
Why I ask that question is because I have a feeling Blizzard is like pushing a little bit the gold making add-ons a little bit on the side. Like, guys, chill out. Things are not working as planned. We're seeing a lot of negative things on the economy. That's why I'm thinking like maybe they're like, okay, guys, we're not going to show you these ideas because we don't want to make it simple for gold makers to just craft and put it out and like easy gold making way.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit, especially when they introduced like the cancel scan throttling. We still never heard anything back from Blizzard about that situation, even though we reached out through kind of official channels and unofficial channels, but we didn't get anything back from them for that either. But they're in a position where if they're not happy with something, they can just break it overnight. And there's many times where there's people join the community and say, is TradeSkillMaster legit? Am I going to get banned for using it? But the fact that it has been around for over a decade now, and we do have Blizzard staff who are users of it and have premium subscriptions, and we have had direct contact with them for specific development needs, not just kind of community related things. They are well aware of TradeSkillMaster, obviously. So if they did ever have a problem with it, they can just break it by changing how the add-on infrastructure works on their side for sure.
Yeah, so Ian, Hazy Kostas, if you're listening, just contact Sapu or Gumdrops. It's helpful. Come on. Anything else we can expect in 4.11?
Smaller things, yeah, as well as the custom themes, we are planning to include an option for which font you have in the add-on.
Ooh, that's very nice.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be allowing the addition of custom fonts, but certainly from a set of maybe 3 or 4 or something like that, just to have a different styling of the TSM add-on.
Yeah.
And the other thing which is going to be new for us is providing support for the Korean and the Taiwan auction houses and pricing data for those regions. So we might have a new influx of community members from new regions and new add-on users in these new regions. So that will be pretty cool for us as well.
That is a huge step. I think you need to expand sooner or later with that.
Yeah, we'll be looking for somebody to help localize the TradeSkillMaster add-on, and not just those languages, but also the European languages that World of Warcraft itself supports. Somebody very helpfully contributed a bunch of translations for French at the end of last year, but we'd certainly be looking for other languages like Italian, German, Russian.
Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely. So
if people are listening now and they're like, oh, wait, maybe I can help out, how can they contact you?
Yeah, they can send an email to admin@tradeskillmaster.com, or they can contact me directly through the Discord server, discord.gg/woweconomy.
We put a link as well from that in the description.
Even though my status says no support via DM, just to fend off some of the standard support questions, if you're contacting about any localization or anything like that, just feel free to send me a private message.
Any beta that's going to be released for 4.11?
Maybe. Maybe not. More news on that soon.
Is that something you do know, or
it's being discussed at the moment? We would like to start doing more beta testing for not just major updates of the add-on like we did with 4.10, but just kind of more frequent beta windows for people to participate and give some feedback.
I think it would be very, very exciting if you did like a return feature for the WoW economy weekly blog post on Wowhead together with Samadin as like a special edition episode together with him on stream or something. Is that something you potentially maybe would do?
That sounds interesting.
Because it'd be fun for like a milestone or something. I feel a lot of the community would be very excited to see that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That sounds good to me. I think maybe tying that in with kind of a TradeSkillMaster release or some news or something like that would be
That's
cool.
exactly what I was thinking about.
And we decided you come back when 4.11 gets released. We want you back on the show. We want to talk about, of course, more stuff about 4.11. That's the thing we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're up for it, well, yeah.
I'm getting told.
You have
No
no
choice.
choice.
Okay, I think that's it for the show. Gumdrops, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at GumdropsEU. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to contact at Gumdrops, who has not used Twitter for many, many years. And also on Reddit, on the WoW Economy subreddit, and on Discord, WoW Economy Discord server. I'm pretty much around all the time. Happy to help out with any TradeSkillMaster questions. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, we put all the info in the description as well. So you can all check it out on the YouTube channel, also on the Spotify channel, but there will not be that much info.
Yeah.
Next week, who do we have
It's gonna
next
be very
week?
exciting stuff. We have Hecons coming up as next week's guest. It's a two week guest special. It's nice. It's fun.
Woo. Yeah. What we're going to talk about?
We are going to talk about upcoming news around BlizzCon, or BlizzCon line, as they call it. That's going to be very, very exciting. And then obviously cross-server economy flipping, everything that Hecons does is going to be very good, very good.
Gumdrops, we want to thank you for joining this fifth episode. I hope you liked it, and hope you
Absolutely,
will
it's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Great, thank you. Guys, thank you for the episode. Sen, your last words?
I like cake.
I like
Liquid cheese, I've heard.
a milkshake cheese.
Please no.
Yes, sounds smelly.
I did not sign up for this.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. See you next time, episode 6, next Saturday. And
See ya.
Bye.